Okay, very neat.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. And welcome to this Techstrong learning experience brought to you by Trend Micro. My name is Cody, and I'm the host of Techstrong Learning, and we have an exciting presentation ahead. Before we get this one kicked off, we do have just a couple of housekeeping notes I'd like to review. First, today's session is being recorded. So if you miss any of our discussion, perhaps you'd like to rewatch or maybe share with a friend, the on demand recording will be made available shortly after we conclude this live session today. If you'd like to engage with us, there are a couple of ways that you can do so. First option is the chat tab, which you can find on the right side of the screen. I'd like you to go ahead and start testing out that functionality for us by letting us know from where you are joining us. I see we've got New Orleans and Atlanta already, so thanks for testing that out for us. Um, so if you do have any specific questions for Vitor today, we would like you to send those in to us using the Q&A tab, which can be found directly to the right of that chat tab. Sending the questions to that Q&A just allows us to prioritize those and bring them in and keep track of them a little bit better. If you click on to where it says handouts, you'll see there are about 5 resources that are there for you, so feel free to grab those at your own convenience. And of course, before we close out, we will be giving away 4 $25 Amazon gift cards. So be sure to stick around for the duration of our discussion today. So, the title of our program is Automated Development and Protection with AWS CodePipeline. And I'm joined by Vitor Cora, Senior Cloud Solutions Architect at Trend Micro. And let me just go ahead and feel free to take the stage.
Thank you, Cody. So, good morning, good afternoon, everybody, depending on where are you joining us from. I am Vitor Cora. I'm a senior cloud solutions architect here at Trend Micro. You all are going to be hearing a little bit of accents. I'm originally from Brazil, so I joined the US team from Trend Micro in the last year. And for the ones of you that know Trend, and for the ones that also don't know, Trend is a leader in cybersecurity. I am part, as my title says, part of the cloud team from Trend Micro. So we are one of the pioneers in securing the cloud. So since 2012, since the beginning of AWS, we got in there with them. We put a lot of time, a lot of effort because we really thought that this would be something. And well, they were right, or we were right in this one. And well, Trend, for the ones of you that don't know the bigger story, it's a company with more than 30 years, all the time spent in cybersecurity. It's not just a leader in the security itself, but also in research and developments. So if you look us in Gartner, Forrester, you're going to be able to see that Trend Micro with our labs and vulnerability assessment and research, we are now responsible for disclosing more than 66% of all the known vulnerabilities. So that's a huge number. All this comes with great powers, comes with great responsibilities. So I hope that I'm going to be able to make you all enjoy here our presentation. I have good news and bad news. I have some slides. I won't be a lot into them because most of all that I'm going to be doing is going to be in the labs in the console. So as the name of the presentation states, it's going to be on AWS CodePipeline. So we are going to be building from scratch a full environment, checking against misconfigurations of it, and then deploying protection for the runtime of those environments. So without any longer ado, let me just start sharing here my screen. I have already made my prayers to the demo gods that everything goes according to the plan. So let me just here share with you all our agenda. So the goal. So I'll speak a little bit about the goal. So going to expand from what I was telling you all before about the environment. Then I'm going to be speaking about the AAC pipeline, the infra that we are going to be building, then the controls and protections in this AAC pipeline. Then we're going for the enforcement. So basically, this means, do we block it or do we let it go? So what does it mean? Do I have a misconfiguration of high, very high, or extreme risk to the environment? Or no, I don't have any. So it just go and pass and deploy. Or as we are going to be doing in here, we are going to have vulnerabilities, but I want this environment to be vulnerable. So I want it to pass. So I'm going to show you all how you can introduce this sort of control because you're going to be notified, but you're not going to be stopping the development. I know that both approaches are well used in the markets. Some prefer to be faster than secure, but know what's happening, and vice versa. So we give you all this kind of flexibility. And later on, we are going to move to deployed environments. After this, deploy the protection. For the protection and for the checks, we are going to be using Tremicro Cloud One. That's our suite of products and services for the clouds, more specifically two services, Cloud Conformity and Cloud One Network Security. The beauty of it all, we are going to be doing everything through APIs. So we are not even going to be entering all that much in the console. Later on, I can enter on it and show you all how our things are going to be reflected on the security tools as well. But the main goal in here is that everything is going to be built and ruled by the AWS CodeCommit. So showing native and how flexible everything can be. So any further ado, let's go on. Pray for me. So this is going to be our pipeline that we're going to be running. So this whole pipeline takes around 22 minutes to run. So from the moment that the new CloudFormation template, so here that you can see in the bottom left corner, when it's updated, it's going to be trigger the cloud commits. So when it got to there, and then the cloud build is going to start checking for the vulnerability. So it's going to invoke our API to check for any misconfigurations. And depending on if there's none or if they are below the threshold or if they are above the threshold, and even so if we enable it, so if we allow it, then it goes for the next stage. So next time our next stage is going to be the code deploy. We are going to be using CloudFormation for it. So we are going to be deploying the whole stack, and this is going to go for the AWS environment. After the deployment is done, we are going to be triggering the last stage of this pipeline. That's going to be the protect. In this part, we are going to be using this Python codes that are here on the top. So I'm using two scripts for this Python. So I have made this the most variable possible. So it's not, or it's mostly not hard coded any information to it. This took me a little bit of time to get to this point. So this was also a pretty good learning experience for me as well, because let me explain a little bit for you all from where we came with this idea for this development, this pipeline, and this for this workshop. We were working with a customer that had a lot of deployments that they needed to run, and together we did it all through APIs. And when we started to speak with Ritz and with Italy, they basically got like, well, this can be something that could bring the message to more people and could put down some barriers about what people see as ways to protect the environment. So we started from scratch to build it in a pipeline that everybody could be able to use it afterwards. So this is from where it came from, and I really hope that you all enjoy it. So now let's jump for the AWS console. So you can see here, 5 hours ago, it succeeds. So let's just hope that everything goes according to the plan again. I'm just going to be showing you all before here. So you can see here, VPCs, we have two. So we are not going to be using none of these two VPCs, okay, for this deployment. So let's just go back here to CodePipeline. Let's enter here in this pipeline. So I have deleted the CloudFormation after the last one. So you're going to be seeing the naming pattern and everything appear in the CloudFormation. So let's release a new change. Okay, so it started here to run. So the first step here, it's going to be getting from the source. So here we have our source into repositories. It's now loading from this repo in here. Jedi environment repo. And here, CloudFormation repo. Sorry, Jedi environment repo. And from here are the three scripts. So this is the CloudFormation that's running right now, or that will be running in some seconds. And then we have here endpoints.py. This is the one that's going to be deploying the endpoints and endpoint deployments. I know the naming was not my most creative work ever, but this is the one that rotates the routes. Okay, let's get it back here. So now we have went through the source codes download. So now it's going to test. Let me just open here the build for you all. So as I mentioned before, the goal in here is for us to build this environment from scratch and protect it. So the first step of this protection is going to be to check. So in here, let me go one step back. Meanwhile, it's running. It's going to be check builds, just for me to show you all the configuration, because here it's where it's going to be our goals. Okay, build history, build details. So here you're going to be able to see under environments and environment variables. We have here some information and some things. So you can see here that fail pipeline is disabled. So basically, what does it mean? We are not going to fail the pipeline. And also in here, you can see that the cloud conformity risk level, it's set to low. So don't bother about this API. This is going to be destroyed in some minutes. So this here basically is telling to the check, so to the controls of this pipeline, that show me everything that you find. So since low to extreme, we have 5 levels that we are going to be able to find: low, medium, high, very high, and extreme. I'm going to be able to show it all. So with this combination of risk level and fail pipeline, you're able to set your thresholds. And here we have our build spec. So basically, all this here that I'm showing you all, it's going to be in the white papers that we are going to be sharing. We have a workshop that you're able to get this pipeline the same way that I got in there, and then you can start to add your steps on it. In my case, I added here the deployments of the endpoints and afterwards the rotation of the routes. Any questions? Don't feel shy. Send us in the Q&A. We should have a good time to discuss and to chat after everything is run. Okay, perfect. You can see now here that the build is done. Sorry, the check is done, and we have just moved to the build. So I have here a tab for CloudFormation. Let's just go from here for you all to be able to see it on live. So you can see here that we are building here the new environment. And here from the events, you're going to be able to see everything that's being built. So the machines are now going live. And if you go here to resources, you're going to be able to see the VPC. So this is a brand new VPC. And the naming for it's going to be Jedi something. You can see the Star Wars theme is pretty strong in my group. So you can see here, a completely and brand new VPC is being built. This step here Should take around 5 minutes to run it all. So we have a little bit of time to go back one step and see what came through from our testing. So my plan, as our last step, the protect, takes around 10 to 15 minutes to run it all, is to show you all what we are getting from the pipeline. And when we enter in this last bit, I'm going to show you all the topology with the set environments that we have built and what's going to become afterwards. And also the state machine, so the flow that the pipeline have taken. So where it can fail, where it can go to just break the pipeline, endpoints found, endpoints not found, and all. So here, let's go for build details. And from build details, we need to go for, where is my outputs? Okay, I'm always losing these outputs. Where are you? My internet is a little bit slow, so sorry here about the time it's taking for me to go from one point to the other. See here if I am in the right place. Oh no, I need to enter in here before. My bad. Perfect. So now let's go for the build details. So now we have here in artifacts. Perfect. So let's go for this S3 bucket. And now we just need to get here our outputs. We are almost there. So let's just download it and then let's open it. I think I have not opened the right one. Just a second. I was seeing here the date. It was March 29th. So I have opened the wrong one. They all fall to the same S3 buckets. Okay, let's see if I can grab here from last modified. Perfect. This is the one, F7 lax. So from here, let's download it. Don't want you all to be seeing something else. So from here, let's open it. And let's see this output. So you can see that we're outputting it on a JSON format. So you are going to be able to even use it for any other sorts of parsing that you may need. Let me see in here. This is the one. Let me just bring my VS Code. So in here, you can see how we output the information. So I would just run it through for you to see that is long. So we have more than, or almost 3,000 lines in here. This is why I'm getting all. So since low to extreme, but you're going to be able to see here. So in this case here, this first misconfiguration, it's security. So we are going to be looking for the 6 pillars of the AWS and 5 pillars, if I'm not mistaken, for the Azure and Google Wells Architected Framework. They still don't have, or not as far as I know, anything about sustainability. And then you can see here, so this in the resource attacker. So you all saw that this is one of the machines that I was deploying. And this instance in here is not using an instance profile IAM role. So this is one of the misconfigurations that was found, but I'm pretty positive that I'm going to have much more to find here. You can see here bastions, and you can go on and on. So now let's go back to our environments and let's see how our pipeline is going. So it looks like I left the pipeline. So let's go get back to it. It's still showing progress. This failed here from a previous one. Almost killed me. So we can see that now it's showing that CloudFormation it's deployed. So from here, let's see what was deployed. So for more VPC, let's first of all get this ID. We're going to be needing it. And then let's just enter here in subnets. I'm just seeing here a message that it was a little bit too small. Sorry about it. I can share afterwards some print screens also of the JSON for you all to see, or you can go back in there. I have never maximized a VS Code window before, but I will try my best. So these are the subnets. They're present in this VPC. And let's also open the route tables for us to see what's in there. So now let's look here for the route tables. So it's super straightforward. We have two privates and two public ones. In here in routes, super straightforward, just a route to IGW and the two public. And here in the private, just a route here to the NAT gateway. Let's enter now here in our EC2s to see what was created. If the screen here in the AWS console it's too small or too big, just let me know because I can maximize or minimize here depending on the need. So now we have 4 instances running here. Okay, let's see what do we have. And we have here a DVWA, a bastion, a victim, and an attacker. So those are the instances that I have just created. Let's log into this DVWA just to see if it's working. Okay, it is. Let's enter here in security. I'm not that great attacker, so let's just bring it down to low. And let's just try something super straightforward. That's my name. And an always true. So for the ones of you that are not so used to SQL injection, basically I'm telling if the user ID Vitor C with the password 1 is not true, it's true, or if 1 equals 1, so this is an always true statement, bring me the user ID. So basically this is going to make the database reply with everything that's in there.
Hey, Vitor, could you zoom in on that screen just a little bit?
Of course. Thank you
Thank
for letting
you.
me know. Is it better now?
Much.
Thank you. So let me just highlight here for you all to be able to see. So this is the first statement. Vitor C equals 1 or 1 equals 1. Okay? So now let's just check in here. It's still running the protect. As I had mentioned to you all, this tends to take 15 minutes to run it all because it has some wait and there's a time of the deployment of the hosted infrastructure. So now let's just check into Cloud One just to see if something's happening in here. related to that VPC ID. So network security, let me just go for, sorry about it, for this VPC ID. So in here, you can see that I have the creation in progress of both endpoints. So let's see if this have already triggered the creation of the two subnets where those endpoints are going to be shared with. And also if we already have the CloudFormation template appearing here. So, okay, not yet. So we have some time to discuss the flow machines and all. So in some minutes, you are going to see two in here, two new CloudFormations being built. Best part about it, if by any means you're finishing your POC, so we do a lot of this with customers, and you want to do a cleanup in that dev or pre-prod environment, you just need to delete those two endpoints that you have seen on our console, could be through API or through the console, and we do this cleanup of the endpoints and the subnets that was created for it. So now, let me bring back here the slides. And now this is super straightforward. This is the flow. So let me show you all the behind the scenes. How all that we have spoken about and the things that you have seen just popping up were built and what was the logic behind of it. So when the CloudFormation is updated, we are going to check for misconfigurations. There are two possibilities that can come from this. One, super rare, but we always cross our fingers for it. There are no misconfigurations in this environment. And the second one, misconfigurations are found. So now we go for the next step. We have another bifurcation here. So the first one would be, are these misconfigurations above or below the acceptable thresholds? So you can see that in my case, when I ran the pipeline, I had set it to low. So whatever I find in there, I'm going to be blocking or no, depending on the fail pipeline set. If the fail pipeline is set to no, we are getting to deploy CloudFormation. So you can see here there are three ways for you to get to deploy CloudFormation. So one, no misconfigurations found. Two, below the thresholds. So no misconfigurations above as an instance high. Or you set the fail pipeline to no. So you still have the alerting, but your deployment go through all the way. And now, if fail pipeline is yes, at this stage, we fail the pipeline and the pipeline, it's over. It's not going to deploy the CloudFormation, and in my case, it's not going to be deploying the endpoints. When this is done, we get to the protect. So protect is that last bit that you all have seen that's running right now. As I'm super visual, let me just bring you all here. So protect, this fourth stage in here, it has two Python codes on it. The first one is going to be doing this. So CloudFormation deployed. First thing that I do, I look for public tenancy. So what does it mean? I want to know what are the AZs that have public subnets. In my case in here, it's A and B, but the code's going to be looking for, it could be D and E or whatever. So it's going to find them, and based on it, it's going to call the Cloud One Network Security API. So calling the API, it can receive two answers. First one, the endpoints are deployed, so yes. Or the second one, endpoints are not deployed. So it goes down to the no. So if the endpoints are already deployed, it's basically going to pop out for you NS endpoint found. And from this, it ends the pipeline, or sorry, ends this script and moves for the next step. And if the answer is no, it's going to go for deploy network security endpoints. And it's going to kickstart through the API calls, the deployment of the endpoints, and it's going to finish this script. From here, we get to the last script. So how does the last script works. So it's going to look for the public tenancy. Those two scripts, uh, they are disconnected, let's say like this. So one doesn't need any information from the prior to work. So I use this mindset to avoid any sort of miss passing of variables or any informations, but I could also just have chained them. So sending outputs from one to the other. So from this point, I look for the public tenancy again. And after I find the public subnet, I'm going to copy those route tables. And why? Because I want to have them as they are with one minor change. That is all traffic that you all have seen going to IGW. I'm going to point this traffic to network secure endpoint. This way, capturing and protecting the egress of this traffic. So after this, we go for the next step. The next step is network secure endpoints deployed and why this? We cannot grab and acquire the endpoint ID. So we are using VPC endpoints, gateway load balancer to be more precise, and we are sharing this with you. And as everything is done through routing, so we are going to be changing egress, edge association route table, the ones associated with the IGW. We need to have this data, this bit of data to add to it and also to the public subnet. If we don't, it's going to just fail because it's going to be missing one information into the Python script. So if the answer is no, it just enters in a loop of wait. 1 minute after, it comes back. Is it there? No. Wait again. No. Wait again. So it goes on this loop. If the answer is yes, it goes to NS endpoint found. So that will be the next step. Acquire the endpoint ID. After acquiring the endpoint ID, we go for create IGW route table. This is the edge association route table. I'm going to show you all how it works and what it is. But for now, all that you need to do is that this rules how the traffic, when it hits your IGW in the inbound, how it's going to be routed. And then we also create the endpoint route table. After this, we go for the next step. So we're going to be adding the endpoint IDs to the route tables. To the edge route table, the endpoints don't need it because we're not sending any traffic back to it. And then to the to public. Okay. After this is done, we go for the next step. That's rotate route tables. So with all the route tables in there and enabled, we just go and change it. So we associate or edge associated to the IGW, subnet associates the endpoint to the endpoint one, and then we do the same to the public. And if everything's okay, if none or no variable have broken, no loop have been running forever, we get to the end of the pipeline and everything is deployed. Before I enter here into topology, let me just come back. Okay, we have all working. So this is a happy moment for me. So the demo gods have done pretty good work in here. They have blessed me. So before we enter in here, let's see the two last slides that I have around the topology. So this is what is built. So you also have seen that I have two more subnets. This is ongoing construction because my plan for the next interaction of this webinar or of this training, I'm thinking a lot of possibilities for the future here for this work that I'm showing you all is to also have an AWS firewall as one of the steps in the security flow. So let's just focus in the subnets that already have something. There are these four. So our traffic comes from IGW to the public instances. And from the public instances, I have here a bastion and an attacker one. It drops down to our victim. So we have a public DVWA, we have a public attacker, and we have one private victim machine. So here you can also see the route tables as they were before. And here, just recollection of what the two Python scripts do. First one, deploy them as endpoints, and the second one rotates the routes. So after those two steps are done, we are going to have this environment that you all can see. So a route table associated to the edge that are going to have routes to both public subnets. So if something is targeting that public subnet, we are going to be able to go in and just do a little bump in the way. So we rotate it and send it to endpoint. Endpoint's going to clean this traffic, and then it moves to where it should. So then afterwards, when it's a public, if the target's the VAA, it just goes to the VAA. If the traffic is intended as an instance for the attacker or the bastion machines, it gets in there for you to be able to later on move for playing with the private server. That's basically the victim server. So this is also an environment that I have created, a CloudFormation that all these AMIs are public for people to be able to play around with security and with our products. So from this point in here, let's move now to our code pipeline. Let me just refresh here my screen because I was kicked off from my AWS account. Okay, so now let's just close this one as we're in. Let's reload. This one I don't need anymore. This one I don't think we need it also. These are the subnets. These are the route tables. We are going to be needing both. We are going to be needing here the EC2s, CodeCommit, not for now. Let me just clean up some tabs for it to don't be messy for you all to follow through. Okay, so now as everything is loaded, let's just refresh here to see. You are going to be able to see now that both endpoints are showing as created. So 2A and 2B. And now let's take a glance in route tables. Okay, so we have here more than I wish to see. Okay, so let's just expand. So you can see now that we have much more route tables than before. So you can see here that some of our original ones, they are not associated to anything. So the public route A and the public route B, one of the things that I have done with my script was to keep those two in here. So that's easier for you to revert it back afterwards. So this is a best practice that I always take with customers whenever we are going through with deployment. Let's just copy it and maintain whatever we had before. And here you can see both endpoints, subnets. So the routes are super straightforward. They are going to just be sending traffic to the IGW. And then you can see here add association. So add association is going to have both VPC endpoints. So you can see here the .10 and .11 subnets. So those are the public ones. Let me just put this on order. So here you can see public to A, 10, and public to B being 11. Okay, let me just bring it here for you all to be able to see it. And then private, we didn't did any changes to it. And then we have here the new ones, the protected. You can see that in here, all traffic is pointing to the related VPC endpoints, so the network security endpoints. And from here now, let's go back to our DVWA. Let's just hit home in here. And then SQL injection. Let's just do a trans. And you can see that nothing's happening, but in fact, a lot is happening in the backend. So you can see here that we have a rolling refresh. So this means that nothing's being replied. So with this no reply, we can know that for sure the network security have stopped because we work with a silent drop. So let me just go back here to home, SQL injection, just to show you all. If I use user ID 1, it just goes through. So let's use Vtor as I have used before, just for everybody to see that I'm not lying. So again, just refreshing forever. There is a play that I like to do in here. Let me see if I can get here my postman. There is an API command that I can send to put the IPS with the protection in bypass mode. So if my postman comes live, okay, it's coming live. It's coming at any time now. You can see that in the other screen, it failed, so it entered in timeout. But you can see that this is still up. So it was just that malicious input that was blocked. So the button here, you can see here the inspection bypass. Just be going to the body. It's set to inspect. Let me set it. Yes. Let's send it. Okay. Inspection bypass request is accepted. So you can see now that the malicious traffic can go in. So this is basically a way for you also to bring in and bring out the network security. Just a little bit of explanation of the service itself before we jump into questions. So we should have around 10 to 15 minutes for questions. So network security, this that you have seen in here, it's a network IPS, cloud IPS, where we are going to be serving it for you all as a service. So when I was mentioning here, you can see that we have not deployed any instances to this environment. So let me expand it here for you all to see. This is 100% SaaS. So all the updates, outscaling, everything that nobody wants, it's taken care of by Trends. And we are going to be giving you all an endpoint. So this endpoint is from where you're going to be rotating and routing your to and from. All the routes are done inside of AWS in this specific case. So we are not holding any parts of your routing. So you're not going to lose any visibility in how the traffic flows. And that's basically it. You're responsible for the policy. So you block what you want to block, you just alert what you want to alert, and you let pass whatever you want to let pass. And we are going to be here to protect your backs. So Cody, with this, would be closing here my part of the presentation, the things that I had prepared. You can see that the demo gods were good with me. So I'm happy with it.
Looks like everything worked out. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to see it. We have received just a couple of questions, Vitor, and I'll also take this opportunity to remind our audience that this is our designated Q&A time, so please send in what you've got. So Vitor, let's go ahead and just take them from the top. Our first question asks, can this lab be done after this talk is over?
Yes. So basically, this lab in here, not just the infrastructure as everything, it's available to trials. So you all are going to be able to just get into the environment and use it. Sorry, I'm still like pumped up for everything here to work. So you can build it all yourself and you can use it. So Cloud One, you're able to use and to try it for free for 30 days. So we can extend it if you're liking, need more tests to be done. But if you just want to replicate the environment that I have done, I can send the CloudFormation. In fact, I'm going to be uploading it in full to GitHub, and we can send this GitHub link for everybody that wants.
Awesome. We did have one audience member who said the force is strong with this one. So the force has awakened, Vitor.
Yeah,
Our next
this one
question
was.
reads. So our next question is, does the NS inspect SSL traffic?
Yes. So there are two ways for we to work with the network security. The hosted version or recommendation is to be after your load balancer, after SSL termination. But if you are hosting yourself, the virtual appliances, there are also an option. Then we can open the SSL in these appliances. And the reason for this is that we don't want you to be sending certs to our AWS tenants. So as we are studying some options to do this in a way that certs and private certs don't need to be sent to us, in the meantime, the recommendation for the hosted version only, it's after the load balancer SSL termination. But for the virtual appliances, yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Our next question asks, are there any tools for pipeline management? Managing the lifecycle of the pipeline and ensuring its smooth operation can be challenging.
Um, in this point, I'm going to take a little bit of a detour. So we are going to have some of them much more focused in the security itself. So as I have shown you all here, for the infrastructure, the cloud conformity, it's going to be checking against these misconfigurations for the deployed environments. And we have container security that will be there to take care of your Kubernetes and containers. We don't have anything to guarantee and to check if the pipeline that you have built works and if your Q&A is being rightly done, but we can check security of what's going to be built from it. I hope I
Awesome.
have replied this one correctly.
Awesome. So Brittany, or another point of contact we have from Trend Micro, has put in the chat, if you have more questions or would like to meet with the Trend Micro architect team, feel free to email me directly at Brittany_Zurak, Zurak, at trendmicro.com. And Vitor, I'm going to come back to you with any more questions we may receive. But I am just going to give away a couple of gift cards while we wait for any last minute questions to come.
Perfect. Just let me say that for everybody that participated in here and also for everybody that sent some questions, thank you a lot for your time. I know that 1 hour nowadays is a pretty good time for us to spend. So thank you a lot for your participation, for your questions. I am based here in Dallas, but I cover all the states. So if there's anything, if someone is here in Dallas, wants to meet us in our office that stays in Las Colinas or any of our subsidiaries, speak to someone from Trend, just let us know. It's going to be a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you. So quickly, we do have some handouts available for you in that handout section, so feel free to grab those. And we'll just kind of run through a couple of our closing remarks while we wait on any last second questions. The 4 winners of our $25 Amazon gift card drawing are Burak K, Rachel B, Colette N, and Peter X. So to our 4 winners, congratulations. Keep an eye on your email inbox to claim that gift card. It should make its way over to you in the next 48 hours. But if you don't happen to see that email, just check your spam folder in case it happens to be filtered out. I would also like to remind everyone that our session today was recorded. So perhaps you joined us late or perhaps you had to leave early. Either way, this session was recorded and it will be sent to you via an email. You can also find it living on the DevOps website at devops.com/webinars, and then just be sure to look in the on-demand section. All right, we have no more questions. So Vitor, any closing remarks before we take this off the air?
I would say thank you all for the time. Hope you all have enjoyed. Any questions, anything that you all need, we do also this work here with a lot of customers that want to trial. So, oh, I want to try this, but I don't have any knowledge of like networking. Count on us. So this is something that I have been doing for almost 10 years now, since on-premise time, and weirdly that this could be a like working with round tables. I know that people don't tend to to like this all that much, so count me in. And no, follow me in LinkedIn. I'm I have one presentation that we did in the DevOps conference in San Jose, I think it was, that I need to publish in there. So in there, I speak zero about trend, much more about route tables and how the services communicate with each other. So I'm planning to be posting this, and also after the recording is done, Cody, if you allow us, also posting there for people to be able to look for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Feel free to post this anywhere you'd like, Vitor.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I would like to thank our sponsor for today's program, Trend Micro, for bringing this content to us today. And to everyone who's still here with us, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you spending an hour with us, like Vitor mentioned. And we do just want to ask for one more second of your time to fill out a survey that will pop up as soon as we close out. Let us know what you thought about this program, or if maybe you have recommendations for upcoming topics, let us know there, and we'd love to hear from you. Either way, we hope to see everyone at a future Techstrong learning experience. Have a great rest of your day, and Vitor, thank you once again.
May the force be with you all.
And with you.